Good morning. Sue Smith sitting in for Elias Makos, heading up to 8 minutes past 11 o'clock. Great to be with you on this gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Isn't it funny how we were all complaining about the heat, and then when we got a couple of cold days, I was like, where is the heat gone? Well, it looks like the heat is back, and it's probably a fantastic time to get out in nature. Certainly this weekend, it's a bit of a mixed bag. There is rain in the forecast, but it looks gorgeous today and tomorrow. And so, there's also, before school and work get started again, maybe it is a good time to take advantage of Quebec's parks. And many of the best places to pitch a tent or wander a quiet trail are the ones that you have probably never heard of. I mean, we hear a lot about the big name parks. They get most of the attention, but also they get most of the crowds. There is a whole world of underrated outdoor spots hiding in plain sight, especially here in Quebec. The Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society recently came up with a list of them. Chris Ryder is the National Director of Conservation at the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society, and he joins us on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Sue. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I love that segue. That was so smooth.
Okay, thank you. What are some of Quebec's hidden gems?
Well, the interesting thing with Quebec is, and for the last 2 years I've lived in Gatineau, so I've gotten to know them a little bit myself, is that the Quebec system of parks, protected areas, campgrounds is, I have to say, second to none.
Wow.
It's incredible, and we're so lucky to have so many different places we can go, but I can pick out a few examples if that's helpful to do right now.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to ask you what you mean, because I know, like, being in the Laurentians, I have been really amazed, and having a dog that needs to be walked, because a lot of parks don't allow dogs, but some do. So I've become an expert on, all trails and looking for the place I can go. But one thing I have found out, which I didn't realize exist, are the amount of municipal parks. Like St. Adele, for example, has its own park. Morin Heights has parks, little communities. And then there are also the bigger ones like Valmorin, Val David, which is, I guess, a provincial park. So what kind of parks did you look at?
Well, what we did was we actually, CPAWS is a national organization. We focused on the conservation and protection of public land. So that's provincial, territorial, municipal areas. And we do a lot of work to support First Nations, what their traditional territory, as well as to advocate for the conservation of land. So when we talk about this, we're actually talking about all of those things.
Right.
And that's really important, because I think often when we talk about parks, or when we think about parks, when we think about getting into nature, we think about going to those big sites. Saguenay-Saint-Lawrence, for example, the Parc Marine, down around Tadoussac area.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of places we think about, but there's so many incredible options and so many different places. And when I was thinking about it today, I was thinking about we stayed at a beautiful campground in the middle of Quebec City a few weeks ago, or a few months ago. And it was beautiful. It was so stunning. And we have such a gift of being surrounded by these options, whether you're in the city, whether you're out a little bit further. There's just so much to explore and enjoy here in Quebec.
What do you mean in the middle of Quebec City?
Yeah, it was just a municipal campground, and it was, I think, about quarter of an hour drive from downtown, and you're surrounded by nature.
That's crazy.
Wow. And it's the sort of thing that I think we often just we either take for granted or we don't think about. And so what we wanted to do with this work was to just share around Canada some of those secret places that people don't often think about.
Like the Sutton Natural Environment Park.
That is a perfect example, right near Montreal, I believe.
Yep.
And it's just such a beautiful place. You can go year round. It's got 50 kilometers of marked trails, so you can go skiing, you can go running, or take your dog for a walk, as you mentioned. And it's just such a beautiful place. But it's, again, right near Montreal, and that's so wonderful to have that nearby. I guess it's probably a bit closer to Sherbrooke, but still short drive.
Yeah, not bad for Montrealers, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And it's interesting too. I mean, it's worth it, obviously, with the extensive network of paths and stuff. I noticed one of the listings that you have on your website is the wildlife reserves, which is maybe something that we don't think of. What are those? Apparently 13 SAPAC wildlife reserves.
Yeah, the wildlife reserves are a great option for getting out the areas where nature is being protected, and often with so many great opportunities for hiking, walking, just taking photographs and being out in nature. So yeah, like the wonderful thing. Again, I can't speak as a new Quebec resident, relatively speaking. I can't speak enough about how lucky we are to have access to so many great places, and we don't need to all go to the same places as everyone else is, which is just such a gift.
Why do you think that some of these parks just are so I'm going to say underused. I don't know if they're underused, but maybe not as popular as the big parks.
I think what I've seen here is many of the parks are being really well used. Some of them are a little bit harder to get to, so it takes a little bit longer. Whether you're driving in from Montreal or Quebec City or Gatineau, it might be a bit of a longer drive to get there, so we might focus on the places that are a little bit nearer. It might be less famous. And so we've all heard of Saguenay St. Lawrence, as I mentioned earlier. It's a world-famous marine park. And we just don't know. And if we don't know, we don't go. And so just thinking about the different places to go and taking the time to do that research and to actually familiarize yourself with the different options you have and do that little bit of planning, it's amazing the experiences you can have.
So how would you advise somebody who's listening and thinking, hey, yeah, I want to take advantage of a park, maybe instead of going to, Tremblant or one of the more popular ones, I want to go to a smaller one. What tips would you give to someone planning to camp in these quieter parks?
Well, I think there's some great resources. The first of which is they can go and look at the website for CPAWS, which is at www.cpaws.org, or for Francophone audiences, that would be www.snap.org.
Yep. You could just Google either CPAWS or Snap, and
that's right. Yep. That's right. And you can take a look at our website. But there's also some other amazing resources here. For example, the SAPAC website lists campgrounds across the province. And there's another thing that I'll give a shout out to, and this is a free shout out because it's just something that I really enjoy, which is the Quebec Campground Guide, which they've got a website and a big book you can get. And it lists so many different opportunities for camping all around the province. And I feel like an evangelist for this because I do really feel grateful to have such wonderful opportunities to go to so many different places.
Yeah, and it's funny, as you said that, I see the campground guide, which is published by Camping Quebec, but I just quickly Googled it, and of course Bonjour Québec comes up, and actually the tourist board does have a lot of great resources as well. Yeah.
There's so many different things you can do. So, I mean, if I can give some advice, it's when you're planning this, make sure to plan ahead. Just when you are going out, familiarize yourself with the rules and regulations for the park or the protected area that you're planning on enjoying. We want to make sure that when we go, we're following the rules.
Yeah, things like lighting fires.
Or maybe making sure that dog is on leash. As an example. And also just consider when it is that you're visiting. So we all like to go on the weekends, but if you can go during the week, sometimes that can mean you can have a bit of a quieter experience, and you're putting a less pressure on the park or the campground.
Well, some great suggestions, and it's a super resource. Chris, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful day, and hope you enjoy this beautiful summer weather.
Me too. Right back at you.
Thanks so much.
Bye. That's Chris Ryder. He's the National Director of Conservation at the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society. So the acronym is CPAWS, CPAWS. And if you just Google that, you'll see they have a fantastic list of all those parks. It's a super, super resource.